I love PowerShell because it will do anything with everything, pretty much. It is the glue that holds all of your stuff together. Of course, starts on Windows, so we can grab our processes, we can grab our services, we can interact with our machine in any way that we like. We can connect to Linux machines. If Rob can remember his password. Never talk while typing your password. Yes, result. So using SSH, we can run against our Linux box. Nice and cool, straight off there. Of course, PowerShell is now available on Linux and on Mac. I won't show you because it's pretty pointless because it'll look like that. It just does exactly the same thing. Can't do WMI calls because there's no WMI in Linux. But other than that, everything you expect to be able to do, you're going to be able to do. Let's just remove that session. Active Directory, Exchange, SharePoint, Citrix, VMware, System Center, all of these different systems you can make use of. Jump on a Hyper-V, grab our machines, then we can start working with them. It's the glue that's holding everything together. It's what makes DevOps possible. There's a bold statement. PowerShell makes DevOps possible. But you can connect to your certificate store as if you're on the command line. You can navigate through your certificate store. We've just done a DIR on our certificate store current user. Or perhaps registry. It's just doing LS. That's another thing I love about PowerShell. We've got aliases. So we can take those Unix people who know their ls-ls and their greps and all the rest of it. We've aliased those into the PowerShell world. So they will use PowerShell commands from that alias and much, much more. But here is our registry about PowerShell at the command line. Azure. Azure is heavily built on PowerShell. If you want to do something in Azure, do it in PowerShell, because the PowerShell stuff will come first and it'll have more features. For example, I built an environment for an organization and they had a strict naming convention. And the naming convention, they needed to add a new storage account. And the guys adding the new storage account, because I wasn't there, didn't use PowerShell. They tried to use the portal. Portal gave them a limit of 14 characters or something for the storage account, which meant they couldn't get their naming convention in. So they said, whoa, you've done this wrong. How have you done this? You've cheated somehow. And I, well, yeah, used PowerShell. Cheated using PowerShell. One line of code, bang, there was their storage account with the right naming convention. Some things in the portal you won't be able to do, but you can do in PowerShell. SQL Server, of course, I'm mainly a SQL Server DBA by trade. So SQL Server is where I live most of the time. So if we just set our SQL Server variable into our local machine, we can go and get our error log. Let's see what's happened on our SQL Server since midnight. A significant part of the SQL Server process memory is paged out. What a surprise. Hello, sir. Welcome. Come in. We won't make any notice of the fact that you're here.
Sorry.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, you're accepted. Everything is an object. Objects are brilliant. This is not a printout on the screen. Might look just like text on a screen, but actually what we have created is an object that we can manipulate, that we can get a lot of properties for, can make use of all the methods. One of the many things that I'm not going to talk about for PowerShell.
No, I'm just taking plenty. It's for another beauty dance game.
Is the fact you can create your own objects and you can use a pipeline. Won't talk about those, but they're awesome. Go and look them up. Let's connect to our SQL Server and grab all of our databases that are on our local machine And then select some of the properties: name, create date, owner, auto close, auto shrink, some other stuff. And when that's run, all we have is, hello, an object. Microsoft SQL Server Management SMO database object, even though it only has these properties that we have specified. But because it's an object, no, I'm not actually going back and retrieving these properties again and again. I have saved them in this my database object. We can format them as a table. Makes it look quite nice. Well, we could format them as a list instead. Again, just printing them out. Now they're no longer objects. Now that is just print because we have formatted them. We can put that information out into a file. We put it out into a file. We open it up in Notepad. It doesn't fit on the screen. There we go. There we go. Just got our information about our databases in a Notepad. Oh no, actually, what we want is some CSV. Who do that? Got some CSV. Perhaps the cool kids. No, cool kids are next, aren't they? Perhaps we want some XML because we fancy murdering ourselves trying to shred our XML to get the details back out again. Could convert it into XML. And of course, we can convert it back from XML as well in PowerShell. Cool kids generally use JSON. JSON and the Argonauts are indeed wonderful, and with PowerShell, you can just go straight through, convert them. Perhaps we can convert to HTML. It's not brilliant, but it's HTML. So we've taken that one object and we just decided what we want to do with it, and we manipulated it in all manner of ways. And this is one of the beauties of PowerShell. Your only limit is your imagination. Whatever it is that you want to do, you want to take this information and you want to create a ticket in your ticket machine and then perform your normal troubleshooting steps and get those details and assign them into the ticket and then decide, actually, this is a networking problem, go to the networking team. This is a database problem, it's never a database problem. Send it to the web team. Yeah? You can take control of those sort of processes within your PowerShell. You can build your whole environment. You can test your whole environment. Grid view. Another thing that I adore about PowerShell. PowerShell is wonderful. Grid view is one of my favorite things in the world. That's not strictly true. About PowerShell. Because you get some nice information popping up on a screen. Your normal users will go, oh, look at this. This is cool. And we have this information, and perhaps we want to just look for beards. And that's how quickly we can filter all of this information. Now, this is just a list of files at the moment. There's not very many. We'll do some more about that in a minute. Maybe we want to, maybe we've got a system that creates a lot of log files, say something like 500. Here's another thing. Perhaps we want to create a load of test data or test log files or test scripts. We can use PowerShell to do it. This works significantly quicker when you're not running GoToMeeting on the machine. But I'm going to let it run. We're going to go through. Imagine these are all your log files on your web server. And actually what you need to do is go and zip them up to save some space. But you have a load more log files in that folder. So if we have a look, I have a slow connection. I'm very sorry. Would you like to hide all the webcams and stop sharing your webcam if you're doing so? No, I would not. So, come in, you have a beard, you're allowed to come in. We won't make any...
Grab a seat and a croissant.
Coffee, everything's here. I shall still say the same. It will be you don't have a beard. So, you're allowed to come in, yes. So perhaps in this folder of log files, we've got some important system log files, do not delete, and we've got some I don't care about these log files, and we need to zip them up. What we can do is we can use this pass-through parameter here, and then we're going to compress those log files into a zip, all using PowerShell. So pass-through says, well, it looks exactly the same, but it's got an OK and a cancel button. So everything that we select here will be passed through, hence the name, to the next command that we've got. So if we go all the way down the bottom and we select all of those, and what we're going to do is we're going to zip those up into a log file zip. And just to prove there's nothing up my sleeves, there's nothing hidden in my beard, what we have is a folder, that might have hidden. Come on. What we have is not a folder at all. Come on. There we go. There we go. Here's our folder with our logs zip file. And inside the log zip file, hopefully will be no, we don't care about these logs. At the moment, it looks like there's nothing in there at all. There we go. Important system files, do not delete, and nothing else. So, hide all webcams. Sorry, people. Much as we love looking at you, you're making everything go slow. So that's just files. We're just getting information here. I know you keep saying it's not printing information out onto a screen, but all you've shown me is printing information out onto a screen and a bit of file manipulation. So let's have a look at a SQL table, or a lot of SQL tables in this provider demo database. What have we got? It's an object. Name is table, its type is Microsoft SQL Server Management SMO table view base, because there's a number of them. If we look at the properties, we would use get member. One of the most beautiful things that I love about PowerShell, get member, it will show you all the events, all the methods, all the properties that are available to you on your object. It's enabling you to help yourself. Get help. Another thing that I can't talk about because Steph didn't give me enough time. Get help enables you to not have to learn things, but to have the information available to you on your command line. I use it all the time, even though I've been using PowerShell for since the beard was shorter.
You mean when you were 1?
yeah, when I was 2. Maybe. So let's just loop through our tables. We'll calculate some properties, and we'll get the last updated date for our statistics, which was yesterday when I was running through my demo, making sure everything was working correctly. So if we used get member and we went and had a look at our table, we'd see there was an update statistics method. So we can just simply do that for this one table like that. We need to refresh our object because it doesn't know about the updated statistics. And then when we have a look at the updated statistics, it says it didn't work. Interesting. Did we refresh it? It's okay, it's not a fire.
It wasn't me.
So apparently,
or they've been overcome by the fire.
So apparently at 10 a.m. there's going to be a fire alarm. We'll just leave that bit.
Running ahead of schedule today.
Anyway, so one of the things, come in, sir, you have a beard. You may come in.
Are you here for Battle of the Beards?
I don't think so.
Ah.
Would you just like to watch awesome people present on tech anyway?
I got the look and come back for that. Is that
Yes,
right?
you
Yeah,
may.
you may. It's only recorded. Thank you very much, sir. So, because I'm weird, and because I wanted to show you something, I wanted to know if my birthday was in the adventure workplace. Yeah, I know. But let's have a look. I think it's probably going to be in the largest table. So we can filter our database tables array. We can sort it by the amount of space that's being used. We can select some properties of this object, and we'll just take the first one. The first one, person.person. Got a row count of just under 20,000 rows. So I reckon that's probably going to be a good place. Let's have a look at that table. This takes a little moment to run. So if we have a look, I was expecting significantly more records than that. What we've got is a business entity, person type, name, first name, middle name, last name, and some XML. So if we have a look inside our XML, we can see that somewhere in amongst here, there is a birth date. There it is, said the man. So, my birthday is in 1971. See, look, Mum, no hands. 1. Oh no, broken it. Go back, go back. It's in 1971. I know, you're all thinking, how on earth is somebody so amazing that old, but, you know, hey. And it's in December. See, look, hit them all. There we go. So we're coming down. See, we're less rows over here, and it is the 22nd, the shortest day of the year. One person. Who is that person? There's their birthday, 1971, 22nd of the 12th, and it's somebody called Alexandra Hall. So Alexandra, yeah, congratulations. But the point of this is another thing that I love about Powershell. It's enabling your users to make use of things. We can filter a database table for a single value that's stuck inside some poxy XML. Now, SQL developers and DBA people out there will know how much fun you would have had trying to shred that XML in T-SQL to find that value and sort through 20,000 rows. Whereas in 1, 2, 3 lines of code and typing, we've done that. And actually, I could have done it in 2 lines of code. In fact, actually, I could probably have done it in 1 line of code because I could have just put the query in here and we could have piped straight out. So in 1 line of code, we could have done that as opposed to whatever it would have been in XML and the pain of doing it and the performance of doing it. So I love it. I love PowerShell. Even better, which other tools have you got that you use that are provided for you by a massive company can you impact? Hello, sir, come in. Find a seat, find a seat. PowerShell's now open source, baby. So if you find a bug or you think, oh, I wish PowerShell did this, and you have the skills, you can jump on GitHub. You can jump on GitHub. The network is quite slow, isn't it? github.com/PowerShell/PowerShell. There you go. You want to see the code? The code's here, source. You want to fork this repository and go and make some changes and have a pull request and send it back into Microsoft, then you can make it do what you want. And of course, you guys can't see the flashing people can see you thing. So get going. It's open sourced, but there are also a vast majority of community-based modules that do things. One of the biggest, and I'm not biased at all, honestly, it has nothing to do with the fact that I'm one of the lead contributors, but one of the best is DBA Tools. DBA Tools started from something that Chrissy Lemaire did which is SQL migrations using PowerShell, which you need to go and look up on YouTube and watch how you can literally press a button, drop the mic, go and grab a beer, and your entire SQL instance will go from that one to this other one over here. And we've developed it and moved it forward so that now it has over 180 commands for PowerShell and SQL to enable you to do all the things that you never knew you wanted to do or didn't know you could do so easily. So another one of my favorite ones of this module, is my new favorite, is testing the identity percentage used column. No, let's start that again. It's testing how full your identity columns are in your databases. Because if you hit the limit of those identity columns and how many rows you've got in them, everything's going to stop. So it's kind of important to know that if you've got an int ID column and you're hitting 2 billion, 200, 300, wherever it sits, you want to make a change before your entire thing stops. Test DBA identity usage, 2 instances, out grid view, and you saw how quick it fixed up. And over here we've got the instance name, the database name, the schema, the table, the column, what the seed value was, the incremental value, the last value, what the maximum number of rows you've got are, and your percent used. So you can use this to filter, oh, hang on, we're hitting 92%. Let's just send ourselves a warning or an email or do whatever it is we need to do to start that process, to make the change, to stop everything from stopping and the flappy-haired spaghetti monsters coming and standing on your desk and shouting at you in suits. In the last 3 minutes that I have, torturer.
You can have an extra 10 minutes.
Oh, no, you tease me. This would have worked perfectly.
You can have just 3 minutes.
I will have 3 minutes. I will show you the last thing that I love about PowerShell. It's called Pester. Pester, test-driven development for PowerShell code, enabling you to write your tests and then write your code and make sure it all works beautifully. I'm not going to show you that. What I'm going to show you is this. I needed to check on over 100 SQL instances that my SQL agent should be running, that it should be set to auto start, that I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 SQL jobs, that each one of those jobs should exist, should have run successfully, should be scheduled. They're going to do the backups of my database, so they're very important to me as DBA. On my backup share, I should have a backup for every single server and a backup for every single availability group. Inside that backup for every single server and availability group, there should be a folder for each database. Inside that folder for each database, there should be a full folder, a diff folder, and a log folder, except for the databases that are in simple recovery mode or in taking part in log shipping. You keep it up. Inside the full folder should be some files that should end .back, that should not be older than 7 days. The newest one should not be older than 7 days. Inside my diff folder, there should be some files called .back. That should not, the newest one should not be older than 24 hours. Inside my log folder, there should be some files that end .trn. That should not, the newest one should not be older than 30 minutes. 150 instances. I am not horrible. I am not a torturer. I did not say to my junior DBA, go and sit in that darkened room for 2 weeks and tick off this list and see what, make sure that all of these things are right. Because you'd have got it wrong.
You're not like every DBA.
I'm not like every DBA. He'd have got it wrong. This is what I did. Test dash honor instance. Okay, I wrote the command as well first, but then test that dash honor instance. I had 100 and whatever instances in there. We had a share name, and then we checked that everything was working. And it went something like this. There we go. Let's just check one instance. Jobs are running. Jobs are all succeeded. Yeah, they're all scheduled, succeeded. These databases have got all the files in them. Yeah, the files are all there. Right, I think we're on to the second database. Yep, the second server cleanup jobs all running there, the files all done. So in 20.98 seconds, and when everything wasn't running on this machine, I did it in less than 9. I've checked 2 instances and whatever. For 140 odd instances and a few thousand databases, I was able to do it in less than 15 minutes. It was something like 15,500 texts. And it meant that I could go and say, yes, all of these are being backed up. Everything is working correctly. We have set this system up so it is working. All with PowerShell. That is one of the reasons why I love PowerShell. And the last reason, which also has my contact details, feel free to get in touch with me and ask me any questions that you would like to. Also shows that you can go old school.